The King of Pop started his career alongside his brothers as a member of the Jackson 5, but Michael Jackson came from a family of 10 brothers and sisters. Find out more about all of his siblings here. Michael Jackson was one of the most influential figures in pop music history. At just 6 years old, he burst onto the scene as a member of the Jackson 5, where he rose to stardom with hits like ABC and I Want You Back. He started a solo career in 1971 and skyrocketed into superstardom on his own with his 1982 best-selling album Thriller. After Thriller, Michael scored many more hits on his own, but the foundation was laid alongside his brothers in the Jackson 5, and many of his other siblings went on to successful careers in their own rights. Coming from the showbiz family, Michael had a strong bond with his siblings growing up, especially in the intensely busy musical group. Well, you don't get to do things that other children get to do, having friends and slumber parties and buddies. There were none of that for me. I didn't have friends when I was little. My brothers were my friends, he once said. While Michael died in 2009 at age 50, almost all of his siblings are still alive to continue his legacy. Find out more about all of his brothers and sisters in this video. Before we continue the video, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon, so you get notified when I come back with another amazing video. Rebbie Jackson. Joe and Catherine Jackson's eldest child Rebbie was born in 1950. Even though she's the oldest of her siblings, she wasn't the first to start performing publicly. She didn't join her siblings on stage until the 1970s, when she joined her brothers on stage in Las Vegas under the name Rebbie Jackson. She started a solo career in the 1980s, with her debut album Centipede dropping in 1984. In 1968, she married Nathaniel Brown, whom she'd been childhood sweethearts with. Unfortunately, Nathaniel died in 2013, but the pair had 3 children together, including Austin Brown, who's a successful musician himself. Austin has performed on songs with major artists like JoJo and Ariana Grande. Jackie Jackson. The eldest of the Jackson brothers, Sigmund, better known as Jackie Jackson, was born in 1951. He was one of the founding members of the Jackson 5, and he was also one of the band's lead singers, due to his high-pitched, tenor singing voice. Jackie later released 2 solo albums, first a self-titled album in 1973, and a sophomore album in 1989, called Be the One. Most recently, he dropped a collaboration with the musician Brez titled Big City After Dark in 2007. He's also produced film soundtracks for movies like Touch and Go and The Running Man. He's also stayed in the music industry as a producer. Tito Jackson. The Jacksons' third son Tito was born in 1953, but his real name was Toriano. While most of the Jackson family are known as singers, Tito was a gifted guitarist, who was encouraged to start a band with his brothers, after his father Joe made him perform for him after breaking a string. Tito has 3 sons of his own: Toriano Adderall Jackson Jr., Terrell Adrian Jackson, and Tito Joe Jackson, who started a band called 3T in 1994. Like his siblings, Tito also has a solo career, albeit later in life. He's released 2 records under his own name: 2016's Tito Time, which is mostly R&B and soul music, and 2021's Under Your Spell, which is mostly blues music. Jermaine Jackson. Catherine gave birth to Jermaine in 1954. While Michael is probably the best-known member of the Jackson 5, Jermaine had significant singing contributions to some of the group's biggest hits. He controversially left the band in 1976, when his brothers signed with CBS, and he remained with Motown Records. He went back to the band in 1984. Still relatively early in the Jacksons' career, he released a self-titled solo album in 1972, and he's released numerous albums under his own name since then, with the most recent being 2012's I Wish You Love. LaToya Jackson. The second Jackson daughter, LaToya, was born in May 1956. Like her siblings, her career started with backup vocals for the Jackson 5, but she's also been one of the most outspoken critics of her family. She accused her father of abuse in her 1991 memoir LaToya, Growing Up in the Jackson Family. LaToya and her family's disputes came in the midst of her marriage to her former manager Jack Gordon. LaToya claimed that her ex was abusive in a 2013 interview with HuffPost. Like her siblings, LaToya also embarked on a solo career outside of the Jackson 5, starting with a self-titled album in 1980. Her most recent release was an EP titled Starting Over in 2011. Even more recently, LaToya was one of the contestants in the first season of The Masked Singer, where she was the alien. Marlon Jackson. Marlon and his twin brother Brandon were born in 1957. Marlon was incredibly close with his brother Michael. During the Thriller singer's funeral in 2009, Marlon gave a tearful eulogy, where he said that Michael was the soul of the family. While Marlon was a member of the Jackson 5, he only released one solo album, 1987's Baby Tonight. Marlon pursued more business-oriented ventures, founding the major broadcasting cable network in 1999, which later became the Black Family Channel, which was sold in 2007. Brandon Jackson. Brandon was Marlon's twin, but he died very shortly after he was born. When Michael died, Marlon mentioned Brandon in his eulogy. "I would like for you to give our brother, my twin brother, Brandon, a hug for me," he said. Randy Jackson. The youngest Jackson brother Randy was born in 1961, and he didn't join his brothers in the Jackson 5 until 1971, when he played congas with the band. He became an official member in 1976, when the group left Motown for CBS. He started a band called Randy and the Gypsies, which released a self-titled album in 1989, but then broke up. Randy has stayed in the industry, but mostly on the business side, after the Jacksons broke up. He co-founded Total Multimedia Incorporated in 1990, with the goal of improving education and entertainment technology. He also bought and became president of Modern Records in 1998. In 2018, he co-founded Rhythm Nation Records with his sister Janet, which was focused on independent releases. Janet Jackson. The youngest Jackson, Janet, was born in 1966, and other than Michael, she may be the most well-known of her siblings. She released plenty of beloved albums, which are now regarded as classics in the 1980s and 90s, including Control, Rhythm Nation 1814, and Janet. She has continued to release music consistently through the years, with her most recent album being 2015's Unbreakable. She's also the subject of an upcoming documentary, simply titled Janet, which is expected to premiere on Lifetime and A&E in January 2022. Giovanni Jackson. Outside of his siblings, Michael also had a half-sister Giovanni, whom Joe had with a woman he had an affair with named Cheryl Terrell in 1974. While she's technically Michael's half-sister, Giovanni revealed that she didn't have a strong relationship with the Jackson family in a 2018 interview with Daily Mail, where she claimed she was hidden away and kept secret and never fully accepted. "I have met every single last one of them, but for some reason there has always been something stopping them from accepting me, from being close to me," she said at the time. "Of course, when I was around them there was a show of love, but once I was gone there was no phone calls asking how I'm doing or how is my daughter doing. It's upsetting, real hurtful, and I still feel rejected." Thank you for watching and subscribe for more Michael Jackson videos.